Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Robert Aldana with Let's Talk Real Estate, a licensed realtor since 1986. That's crazy. I can't believe that I've been selling real estate for, it's going to be 27 years. Okay, I can't believe that time has passed by so quickly. And I'm here to just try to give you as much information as I can. You know, was doing this television show for many years, almost 15 years, took a little bit of a break, but it just feels so good to be back. You know, it just feels great to be back. Great to be back with the people here at the station. Great to be back with you, whether it's in your living rooms or dining rooms or wherever it is that you're watching me, or even on the internet. I'm just happy to be back here with you and sharing this information with you. And so what we're talking about today is we're talking about the remaining 10 tips to do a loan modification. The remaining tips that I'm giving you today in terms of how you can successfully negotiate your own loan modification. And in a little bit, if we have a chance, we're going to be able to we're actually going to also be talking about a few other things, such as what's going on with interest rates and much more, but I definitely want to finish up this particular topic here. So we talked about the first 6 tips already, okay, on how to do a loan modification. Tip number 7, and this is a pretty basic one, but I can't begin to tell you how many people missed the boat on this one, and that's reply to your lender in a timely manner at all times. If they request documentation from you, let's say, for example, today's, January 15th, which it is. Today's January 15th as I'm taping the show, 2013. If the lender sends you a letter that says you need to reply by January 31st, you better reply by January 31st, because come February 1st, they're going to deny your loan. And they don't just deny your loan and say, okay, well, if you give me the information, I'll reopen up your file. They're not going to reopen up your file. You're going to have to start all over again, as you did from day one, and you're going to start the headache all over again. So whenever a lender asks you for documentation, make sure that you give them what they need in a timely manner so that you don't have those problems or issues coming up and you're always responding to them. And as I said previously, I think on tip number 5, document everything that you send to the lender so that you know that if they have any questions, say, I never received that. Yes, you did. I got it right here that you sent it. And here's a tip that I forgot to say previously, and that is when you send them documentation, okay, whenever you send your lender documentation, call them within a couple to 3 days to make sure that they receive the documentation. Because you may think that you sent them the documentation and you did send them the documentation, but for some reason they don't have it, or the person who's working on the file doesn't have it anymore, and they close out your file, you're not going to be able to say, well, I did send it. Here's the day that I sent it. No. You want to call them a couple days after you send the documentation just to confirm that they actually received the documentation. So reply to all lenders' requests as quickly as possible. Don't delay. Tip number 8 is call them every 7 to 10 days if they don't call you. I would say a week to a week and a half is about right in terms of keeping in touch with the lender to make sure that they're touching your file. You've heard that saying, right? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Be that squeaky wheel. Call your lender. Hey, I'm just, this is Mr. Smith, and I'm calling you because, we sent you the documentation like a week or so ago, and I'm just calling to see, is there anything else that you need? Is there anything else that you need to continue to work on my file? Call them every 7 to 10 days. Don't go more than 2 weeks without calling your lender, because if that happens, you're gonna be in a situation where they may end up denying your loan because they think they don't have what they need and they just close out your file. So every 7 to 10 days is about right. Here's another tip, tip number 9. This tip is gonna make your life so easy, so easy. Keep all of your paycheck stubs, keep your bank statements, and all your financial information that changes on a monthly basis handy. In a little box, in a big envelope, wherever it is that you know you can access it real quickly, keep it there. Why? Because there are going to be times when they're going to want updated information. They're going to want an updated paycheck stub. Let's say you're 2 months into the process and the last time you gave in a paycheck stub was 2 months ago. Well, before they give you that final approval, they're going to say, well, I want the most recent paycheck stub because I want to make sure that you're still working and you're still earning what you said you were earning on your application. So if you have that information handy, and every time you get paid, you put it into a little box, and every time you get a bank statement, you put it into that little box, then you're going to be prepared and ready to act the moment that they ask for that information, okay? And number 10 is a tough one in terms of your ego, and that is don't ever lose your cool with the lender. I know what you're saying. I'm going to yell at them and I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. You're going to find that in life, you get very little accomplished by yelling. Okay, I know. I've been there, done that. When I was younger, I was kind of a little bit of a hothead. And, people who know me for a long time will tell you, hey, Robert, he got things done, but man, he was a hothead. But you know what? It wasn't a lot of fun. Okay. And I'm a lot older now, as you can tell by, the lights are, letting you know all the wrinkles that I happen to have. I've learned these things. Okay. Don't lose your cool with lenders. Be patient, but be diligent. What I mean by that is be patient in a sense where know that it could be the 3 to 6 month process or more, but be diligent in that you're calling them every 2 weeks. And if you're calling them every 2 weeks, that means you're going to call them 26 times in 1 year. If you call them every week and a half, which I prefer you call them every week to week and a half, you're going to call them 50 to 75 times. Okay? Somewhere on there. I want to say 30 to 50 times around there throughout the year. Believe me, it's worth it. When they ask you for something, you may have already sent what they've asked for 3 different times. There's no reason for you to yell at them or get mad at them. Trust me, I am not a big fan of the lenders. If you read some of the articles that I've put on, if you listen to some of my radio shows, I kill them on the web. I kill them on some of these podcasts and programs because they're horrible. They're tough to work with. Sometimes it's like the blind leading the blind. The left hand doesn't know I'm saying the right hand. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. I know these things, but you got to be diligent and you got to be patient and don't ever lose your cool. And if you follow the 10 tips that I told you, I have a pretty good feeling that you're going to get a low modification. I really do. So if you want more information, if you say, hey, you know what, Rob, this is great information, but I would still love to talk to you. Can you just kind of sit with me for about 15 minutes and just go over my scenario? I'm happy to do so. I don't charge for this information. I don't charge for a consultation. I was a part of hundreds and hundreds of successful loan modifications with my previous company. I've helped a lot of people do loan modifications. You can watch videos on my website at robertaldana.com. I don't charge for this service. It's something that I really enjoy doing, and I love being able to save somebody's home if I can do it and if it makes sense. But I'm happy to sit down with you and go over your particular scenario and say, okay, this is what you need to do to qualify, or maybe you don't qualify, but don't you want to know right off the bat if you qualify or not? Absolutely. Who wants to fight with a lender for, a couple of years, right? Life's too short. If you want more information or if you want a sit-down meeting with me to just kind of discuss your particular situation, sure, give me a call, 1-800-882-7896, or send me an email to robert@robertaldana.com. Visit my website for testimonials and much, much more. A lot of good information out there. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit about interest rates and much, much more. And I sure hope that you're staying tuned and you're not changing this channel because we've got a lot of good information to share. We'll be right back after this.